Hello and welcome to a view from the cab. Today's one is going to be a bit of a moany one, a bit of a miserable one. So this morning I've been on one of the so-called easier school routes. Not very many children get on. It's quite an easy, in theory it is an easy one, but making my way out of service back to the bus garage, and of course I have to be. There's a series of things. There was a truck, a 7.5 ton truck, parked really awkwardly by a set of traffic lights that I had to negotiate my way through. And the guy, they just look at you, don't they? They know they've parked like an utter cretin, but they still sort of look at you struggling. This is on top of all the temporary traffic lights in town, which I'll get to in a minute. Then I'm making my way down the road and I happen upon one of those ridiculous sweeper trucks. I've gone over these sweeper trucks before. They have to hire the truck, they have to pay a driver, then they have to pay people to walk along throwing the rubbish into the path of the truck so the truck can just sweep it out the back side of the truck really and drive past it. I really don't rate those sweeper trucks at all. Why not just cut the cost and have more road sweepers? Then the woman, it was me and there was a woman in front, and we were plodding down the road because 8:30 is a good time to send the sweeper trucks out when it's really busy. Then the sweeper truck pulled into one of the lay-by bus stops to make a go of that, and he was stopped there, and there was some cars in front of that they took off at the lights, and the woman in front of me, rather than just drive past the truck that was in the lay-by holding us up, no, she's going to let him out. She's going to start moving, then jump on the brakes to let this sweeper truck out. Then we got stuck at the lights again. Then we got through the lights. Then there was the sweeper truck was crawling along, and another sweeper truck was parked on the right hand side of the road. He got in front of us as well. So you're thinking, what is this quality? There's now two sweeper trucks for us to deal with. The lights at the bottom of Canterbury Street, where I was only staying green for 5 seconds, maybe 6. So I had that to deal with. So every time, of course, the sweeper truck gets through, but you don't. Then we eventually, it gets to our turn, and the woman then she's, changing radio stations or something. So we had that to deal with. So by the time I got round, the guy was back in another bus stop, and he was trying to get out, and I thought, you know what, I'm not letting you out. I've been delayed long enough. It's took me long enough to travel a few hundred yards. I'm not just refused to let him out. So I'm making my way back, and I'm going down into the Medway Tunnel, and somebody decides that they really must overtake me come what may, no matter what the cost, the potential risk. And they ended up, despite the fact they had to merge into my lane, and the fact I was so far along, they had to overtake, and ended up on the chevrons, the hatch markings there in the road. So I've sounded the horn like you do when you're irritated anyway. But of course it's all my fault for daring to be there at all, because I shouldn't be there. These idiots should just be allowed to, scud along and do what they want to do. This is, I don't know, the sort of people that think it's okay to check their phone and do WhatsApps when they're sitting in traffic. I think I've seen this morning there was a woman in a BMW. She had a baby seat. I don't think there was a baby in the baby seat, but she had a cigarette on the go, and she, creeping along in traffic, she had a cigarette on. In her defence, I don't think there was a baby in the baby seat, but I couldn't see if there was children in the car. But she was on the phone. She was quite clearly WhatsApping, and I saw a few cars like that. I saw a few, I'm in traffic. I'm perfectly allowed to whip my phone out and not pay attention to what I'm doing. I was driving along the other night. I was running an errand, and there was a guy behind me. He was a big VW, silver VW, quite a new one. one of these big saloon car type things. And the guy didn't, from what I could see in my rear view mirror, didn't seem to be paying an awful lot of attention. I think he must have been on a phone call, which is fine if you start your phone call before you start driving, or if you've got an Alexa in your car like I have, where you can, you can answer the phone verbally. You don't have to pick anything up or touch your phone at all. You can just say yes, accept the call. That's fine, but he didn't seem to be paying an awful lot of attention, not enough for my liking, and he followed me for miles. He was behind me for absolutely ages, not paying too much attention. And every time he stopped, he was sort of coming to a very gradual sort of a stop. But he ended up really, really close, far too close for my own personal liking. There's no real danger, but it was just my own trepidation, because I know what these idiots are like, can be like. So yeah, you've got all the temporary traffic lights around town at the moment. Everywhere you go in Medway, there's a set of traffic lights. Now, in and of themselves, the temporary traffic lights are okay if they're set up properly, if they're controlled properly. There was one major set of traffic lights this morning which had a man standing there monitoring the flow and regulating when each set of lights changed and how long, and it was working really well. To his credit, he was doing a very, very good job. But there's plenty of other examples which you've probably seen yourselves, where they just turn up, bash up a set of traffic lights, bish bosh bash, there we go, don't worry about phasing, we'll just, so they'll all come piling through, they'll get held up at the roundabout or whatever, then they'll block the light, they'll block the roadworks, and nobody moving, it'll all be gridlock in about 5 minutes flat. They turn up, there should be some sort of requirement. Put it this way, if I was in overall charge, if I had absolute control, it would be, if you want to go digging up the road, you've got X amount of time to do it, it's got to be important, you've got to get it done. None of this standing around, leaning on your shovels, talking about the football last night or whatever the case might be. Get the job done, get the road sorted, filled back in, leave. If you've got to have temporary traffic lights, you've got to have a man there, you've got to have a person there, keeping track of the traffic, monitoring what's going on. That's the only reason you can have temporary traffic lights, is if you've got somebody there monitoring, because there's too much of it going on where they'll just turn up, temporary traffic lights, whack some sandbags on the tripod stand there to stop them falling over, and then they just, that's it, turn them on, yeah, that works, see ya, and they leave it. There's too much of it goes on. But like I said, to his credit, the man this morning was doing a really, really good job of regulating the flow through the lights. So, but everywhere around Medway at the moment, there is endless traffic lights, endless roadworks. There's a company, I won't name them, but they're doing broadband. It's all this fast fibre, super fast thing going on, and everywhere I've gone the last few months, they've been there. It's like they've gone to my depot and looked to see where I am on the key line to know where they're going to go next. And they, the other day I got to the roadworks, and there was one of those big tipper trucks, 7.5 ton things, where they chuck all the barrow on it and the shovels and all the gubbins they're going to need for the day. But it wasn't parked very well, and the mirrors were sticking out, and there was barriers there, and there's a big pile of spoil, But happily, to his credit, the guy come over and he tucked the mirror in, and then he moved a load of signs, and then, and I could see he had a bit of the needle about it, because then he's got to put, when I've gone through, he's got to put all the signs back again. But then you think, well, if you'd have just parked your truck properly in the first place and not like a bit of an idiot, I could have probably squeezed through without too much fuss. But again, these people, they just turn up, that'll do, handbrake on, and off they go. So it's just been a bit, and then when I get back to the depot, and there's the usual daily shuntathon going on. you know, apparently damage. We have a lot of damage and expense caused during shunting, and we want to keep shunting to a minimum, but they don't really. They just want to move. Oh, that vehicle is half a centimetre over. We need to shunt 12 buses. And I get back and I'm like, oh my good Lord, why? Why can't it just be turn up, there's a slot, park your bus, go? No, it's not like that at all. But yes, so temporary traffic lights, idiots on the phone, sweeper trucks. I mean, I've got nothing against road sweepers, but those sweeper trucks are absolutely useless. The amount of times I've sat in traffic behind a sweeper truck, and you know, I don't know whether they don't put the brushes down far enough or the vacuum turned up enough, but the amount of cans and bottles and things I've seen thrown out the back and stuff that's missed out of them sweeper trucks, I think they're absolutely rubbish. I really don't know how there's a market for those sweeper trucks. I genuinely don't. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But there we go. It's been a bit of a morning, and it's always on one of them mornings where you've got something happening that you've got to get back for, because that's just the way life goes. You're thinking, come on, I've got things to do, I've got stuff on. But yeah, it's always the way it is. It's always the way it is. But like I said, bit of a moany one there, bit of a moany one. People on the phone is my biggest pet peeve, because you know, it's just so dangerous. It's just so, you know, it's not worth the risk. Texting while you're driving is very much like driving. I think it's actually worse than driving drunk, but somehow people still think it's an acceptable thing to do. It's not older people. Older people have their own different set of challenges when they present their own challenges when they're driving. But it's not older people. Older people tend not to use phones when they're driving. I've noticed it's this sort of, you know, sort of my generation and younger. You know, people over a certain age that won't use their phones while they're driving, which is good. But yeah, it's been a bit of a morning so far. You know, I just hope that I can get through the rest of my day without encountering too many idiots. And the other day, with the guy where he had to move all the signs and everything, then a woman drove around the corner in the junction, and she just sat there staring at me. She could see me there, but she still continued to drive around, and then we just sat there staring at each other for a little bit. You know, so hopefully I can get through the day without too much more of that, because nobody needs that kind of stress in their lives, do they? So thank you for watching. If you've listened to me moaning this long, thank you very much for watching. Be careful out there, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.